Hi, my name is Roxanne Bybee, and I'm excited to be here with you during this symposium webinar. I am from California, and I'm a presidential diamond and love essential oils just like you, so we're going to have fun together. Today we're going to look beyond the basics of essential oils, which happens to be something I really enjoy doing. So let's get started. First things first, a lot of times we deal with a dry, scratchy throat that just won't go away. And to be honest, many times we might have been using the same essential oil over and over, like On Guard, say, and we are finding no real result, and we've still got the dry, scratchy throat. So let's bring a couple of new essential oils to the stage and see if we can't find some change. A couple of things I really like to use when it comes to respiratory support are thyme and wild orange. And this combination, when using it, you're going to want to, and if you're applying it topically, you're going to want to make sure to use fractionated coconut oil because thyme oil can be a little bit warm on the skin for some. So I would start with fractionated coconut oil. I would apply this to the chest, and actually the lungs have a front and back, right? So remember to apply this to the back as well. You're going to start with fractionated coconut oil, and then you're going to layer the thyme and the wild orange. Now you only need a couple of drops of each. Remember, most essential oil applications are 2 to 3 drops. You don't need 5 or 10. That's going to be way more than you need. So just do small and simple. So start with that, and as I said, you're going to layer these onto the chest and the back. And then we do something at our house that I really enjoy. My kids actually find that they have dramatic improvement from using this, and we call it the t-shirt tent. And this is how it works. It's quite scientific. You put your head inside your shirt after you've put those essential oils on, and you breathe down inside your shirt. And what happens is you get this really nice direct effect of the essential oils going straight into the lungs and soothing everything. So that is a really great way to utilize that thyme and wild orange that's now on you topically, but you're actually going to really help it to penetrate and go into the lungs by doing the t-shirt tent. So, and just keep inhaling and repeat that. If you need to close your eyes, that's fine, because sometimes people say, oh, I can feel it in my eyes. But that's how you do the t-shirt tent. Next thing you can do to even increase the absorption more would be to actually apply a warm rice bag or corn bag. Some people might use a hot water bottle, something like that on the chest to actually help increase circulation, which is going to help penetration and absorption of the essential oil even more. So there's one more step to that. Now, I think this is just kind of fun to call it the EO absorption sandwich, but you don't have to call it that. That's just what I call it. But you're going to do the exact process that I just mentioned, which is the fractionated coconut oil, the thyme and the wild orange on the chest and back. But the next thing you're going to do, instead of just doing the, you can still do the t-shirt tent, of course, it's very good. But instead of just doing the warm rice bag, we're actually going to add another step. We're going to add a warm washcloth. So it's going to be really important that you put that fractionated coconut oil on there first, because what's going to happen is this water that's on that washcloth is going to intensify the warmth of the thyme. And so if you didn't use the fractionated coconut oil because you felt lazy, you may want to go back and do that now. So when you put that warm washcloth on there, that warm, wet washcloth, okay, you're going to, basically by using that water, that's also going to speed up the absorption process. But the next thing you're going to do is put a plastic bag and then the rice bag or the warmth that's coming on top. And the reason you're doing that is that actually now you've got this warm, moist heat going in, and that will make a really big difference. So these are a couple of things you can do when, hey, you've had the dry, scratchy throat and it's not going away, you've been using some oils, let's try something different. So give that a go. Usually I find that if I'm consistent at doing that, I'll see a big change within a day or two. Now, if for some reason that's not doing it, we have another idea. We're going to dig deeper. We're going to keep trying different options, okay? The next one I love to do is a soothing throat spray. And I actually have a recipe for you on this, and so I'll show that on the screen. This oil combination has a lot of different essential oils in it, so don't panic when you see it, because actually using these all together is fine. You're going to have it mixed with distilled water, and I'm not going to go through the recipe. You can take a picture of it on your screen right there as it comes up, and that's going to be a lot easier for you instead of you trying to write all this down right now. Try and get your phone and take a picture. And what you're going to find when you make this is you're going to use a 15 ml bottle. You can actually use one of your 15 ml essential oil bottles that's empty. It's a great way to recycle. If you don't have one of those, then maybe you have another glass bottle that's a similar size. And you're going to put the essential oils that are in this recipe in the bottom of the bottle. Then you're going to fill the rest of the way with the distilled water, add the spray top, shake it, and spray that in the back of the throat. And that is a really great way to get rid of a dry, scratchy throat. Now, one of the things I like to do with that spray too is I'll carry it with me, and say I'm doing multiple events or a booth or something where I'm talking, anything where you're talking a lot all day long, which will tend to really make you prone to getting a dry, scratchy throat if you didn't already have one. And so it's a great way to avoid that. You can have that spray in your bag or somewhere and just be spraying that throughout the day, and that's going to keep things moist and help you avoid any possible dry, scratchy throat coming on after all that talking. So, and as you can tell, I like to talk. So, all right, so those are two great ways to support the respiratory area. Now, there's another thing that happens sometimes. Maybe you've met someone and they say this: other people respond well to essential oils, but for some reason my body doesn't respond the same as other people's. What's wrong with me? Now, luckily, if this has ever happened to you, and you might have been scratching your head, I don't know what to tell you. The reality is it's fairly normal. This happens on occasion. And it turns out, once again, we've got to dig a little bit deeper. We've got to look beyond the basics. And we're going to have to ask, what is their body's unmet need? Because there's something going on that's a larger priority for their body. So if we can figure out what that is, most likely we can get their body to respond to the essential oils in the way that it normally would. So we're going to go down that road. Let's figure out what some possible unmet needs are. First one, that's a biggie, and sometimes we miss it, is sleep. Sleep, blessed sleep. We don't get enough of it, and many of us skimp on it. I know I do. I mean, we all know sleep is crucial. There's a lot of things that happen when we're sleeping, and unfortunately, when we have a lot of stress in our life, or even a moderate amount of stress, and we're not getting good sleep, the stress has a massive impact on our body, even more so than it would if we were getting good amounts of sleep. So that is triggering your adrenal system to be overloaded, and you need some support there. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But first, let's talk about what happens when you combine sleep deprivation and stress. You get this lovely thing, as of course you heard in the quote, but you also get just overall immune system compromise, right? Now the smallest thing can come around and you're in trouble. So what happens when our immune system is compromised? A couple other things happen. We get increased likelihood of allergies, seasonal threats, and potential yeast overgrowth. So there is a whole gamut of things that can happen when we are under a lot of stress and we're not sleeping, or the two are happening together. So let's improve our sleep. If you haven't tried the Serenity soft gels and and the new Sleep Blend, you've got to try them. They're terrific, especially when used together. If any of you know that maybe you're someone who goes to bed at night and you sleep soundly, it's very tricky to really realize how deep our sleep is. And so it'd be a wise idea just to add this into your routine. Most people find that when they do, they actually feel a lot better, and they thought they might have been getting okay sleep because they're getting deeper sleep. What's happening with the Serenity Sleep Blend, is that you're getting deeper sleep. So guess what happens when you get deeper sleep, is that you actually now are building your immunity through the night. And many of your body systems are resetting better than they would have been before, when your sleep might have been more shallow, not as deep. So that's our goal, is to get that happening, because guess what? Stress is probably not going to leave your life. It's probably going to still be there. But if we can get better sleep, deeper sleep, what's going to happen is the stress isn't going to have as big of an impact on us, okay? So one of the other things we want to talk about with all this, as I mentioned earlier with stress, right, it does affect our adrenal system. And we want to do whatever we can to support the adrenals, because we end up feeling drowsy all day long if our adrenals are not happy, all right? So one of the ways I do this, and actually Laura Jacobs taught me how to utilize basil essential oil for this, and it's kind of I'm just going to show you how, because when she showed me, I hadn't ever tried essential oils in this way. She drops a drop of it on her hand, and I will warn you, it's strong. And then you lick it off like that. Now, it will make you wake up if you were sleepy, because it's an interesting flavor. But I will tell you what happens within a few minutes is that I generally have a very natural energy boost that happens. And I love it because it's consistent, it's even, unlike many of the unhealthy unnatural energy boosts that are out there on the market, right? So this one I know is supporting my adrenals. You can also rub it on the adrenals, which are in your lower back. However, a lot of times we don't maybe have time to do that, have to head into the bathroom and rub yourself on the back with an oil. Or maybe you don't want to smell like basil, Some people may not love that. So this is a great way, just getting it in your mouth. You can actually drop a drop of it straight in your mouth, not licking it off the back of your hand if you'd prefer. Up to you. But great ways to get a little natural energy boost and help support the adrenals with essential oils. And an oil that you might not be using much that you might have in your cupboard. So next idea with the basil, this is kind of fun. So Ashley Bean out of Virginia is a friend of mine, and she shared this recipe with me, and I love it. It's 1 drop of, we call it the basil boost water, and it's 1 drop of basil essential oil. You're going to get a glass water bottle or metal water bottle, please, preferably instead of a plastic one. You're going to put the drop of basil in there, 2 drops of lemon, 1 drop of spearmint, and then fill the rest with your water. Hopefully pure water if you have access to it. And you're going to shake that up and drink it throughout the day. What you'll find is, once again, that very natural energy boost and some other benefits probably from the lemon and the spearmint as well. Maybe a little cleansing, things like that. So it's really a great way to get basil into your system throughout the day and to help you maybe not experience so much fatigue from stress, okay? So there's a few ideas on that. Now, is it possible that the unmet need could be, we handled talking about the sleep and stress, and of course how that affects the immunity, but it's possible you could also be dealing with a yeast overgrowth. As I mentioned, you get susceptible to that when your immunity is compromised, okay? Some of the things that you might be wondering, well, I don't know. How would I know if I have a yeast overgrowth scenario? There's a few symptoms that I'll give you and see if any of these fit your scenario. Difficulty focusing, irritability, feeling worn down, skin sensitivities, digestive discomfort, or sugar and carb cravings. Most of us fit into a few of those, if not all. So, when it comes to yeast overgrowth, you really need to look at supporting your digestive tract and doing a cleanse. Now, many of the cleanses out there, I'm not even going to tell you some of the ones I've done, they really mean you have to change your lifestyle pretty dramatically. Maybe even take work off a few days because you're going to be home and you're going to be doing all these different things that are going to make it very hard for you to be anywhere away from a restroom. Okay? But I will tell you right now, that is hard to do. And actually, I get the same benefit from what doTERRA offers as a cleanse without having to change my entire lifestyle. So I love it. So here's a simple cleansing option using GX Assist and PB Assist Plus. All right? So when you're using these, the GX Assist is a fabulous capsule, and it's got essential oils and caprylolic acid in there. So you're going to start out very slow. I don't recommend taking 3 of these on your first day of trying to cleanse your body. Start with 1 on your first day, and even the few days after that, and just see how you're feeling. Because when you try to cleanse, and it depends on what your lifestyle's been like up to this point, but cleansing can be somewhat, you might feel worse actually when you're doing it, and that's not the goal. We want it to be very comfortable if possible, and so the slower you go, the more comfortable it's going to be. So I recommend definitely hydrating and adding, if you can, some lemon essential oil to your water while you're doing that, but once again, start with 1 of the GX Assist a day for a few days and see how you're doing. Now, there's directions on the bottle, and you're going to basically do that GX Assist for 10 days, all right? And then you're going to switch up to the PB Assist, which is a probiotic. This probiotic is phenomenal because it has a prebiotic fiber in it. In other words, it's keeping the cultures alive because they have something to eat, if you will. And so when you are ingesting this probiotic, you are now getting more live cultures than you would have had if that wasn't there. Not to mention, it's a double-coated capsule, so it's actually dissolving in the right place in your body instead of having all the stomach acids attack it and not making it into your intestines, which is where we want it to be. So that you're going to end up finishing out your bottle and see how you do. Many people find that even just from using the GX Assist and the PB Assist one cycle through, that their body starts to respond differently to the essential oils. If that was their body's unmet need, that they had somewhat of a yeast overgrowth happening, one time might do it. Now, some of us are not in that scenario, and we might need to go even farther. And so doTERRA actually has like a 30-day cleanse program that you can utilize different products. And there's a slide here of that as well. Take a picture of this. Once again, it's a lot of information, and we're not going to spend time going over it, but it's an excellent way to do a more thorough cleansing. And don't be, frustrated if you go through the GX Assist and PB Assist one time and it doesn't solve it for you, that your body's still not responding to essential oils normally. Go ahead and, be patient and do the full cleanse. It's not, once again, like other cleanses where you have to totally change your entire lifestyle. I find that this is very easy to incorporate, and they've done it in a very simple way so you can tell exactly what to take when. So this is going to be a great experience, and just take it slow and pay attention to your body. But in the end, you should be able to eliminate a lot of those things that we were talking about earlier, as far as some of the skin sensitivity or the digestive discomfort or the fuzzy thinking or all that. So that's a really great goal, right? And you're going to find that you're going to respond to essential oils most likely much better after doing your cleanse. So what if you might actually find someone who says, hey, I get pretty good sleep, or maybe they start using the Serenity Blend and they say, yeah, my sleep's good. I'm supporting my adrenals with the basil consistently, and I'm also, giving myself intestinal support with the GX and the PB Assist, and I'm doing everything you said, but my body's still not responding to the essential oils the way it should be. So we've got to dig a little bit deeper and figure out what is going on, because there might be another unmet need that we haven't discovered yet, okay? So once again, you got to be willing to not give up and know that just keep digging deeper. We're going to find it. So it's possible, it's very possible, that there is an emotional root of what's happening here. So some of you might have heard of this concept where emotions can quite literally cause a physical outcome. And it sounds a little bit crazy, but quite literally it's not, right? I mean, we have an emotion, our heart might start to race, or all sorts of things happen from our emotions. So the mind-body connection is massive. It is very significant. We see that when something is happening in our mind or in our emotions, it can literally create actual physical situation, right? So it could be that what we're dealing with is something like, maybe this person that you're working with has, or maybe it's you, poor emotional boundaries. So here's an example. Like, if I'm someone who has poor emotional boundaries, it might be really hard for me to say no to people. It might be really hard for me not to take on everyone else's problems and make them my own mentally, if you will. Someone who they have a really hard time drawing that line emotionally between their stuff and other people's stuff, right? And when you have poor emotional boundaries, it can be that you actually cellularly have poor physical boundaries, meaning if your cell walls are not strong, then what happens? Well, your immunity's down, right? So that could be your body's unmet need. So what we would do if it was an emotional root, and you'll probably know if, as I describe that, it kind of feels like it's you or someone you know, On Guard would be a great essential oil for you. So what you could do is you could diffuse it. You can smell it straight out of the bottle. Getting that aromatic experience with the On Guard is going to be very powerful when you have an emotional unmet need of having a stronger boundary, if you will, emotionally, right? And that's going to impact your physical boundaries. Now, the cool thing is you can, we know you can ingest the On Guard, right? You can put it in your mouth. You can even use the beadlets, so that's even easier. You can have the On Guard beadlets in your pocket throughout the day and pop those whenever you feel like you want to. And I would recommend basically utilizing that On Guard as much as you can. If you find that you're someone who might have, or someone you're working with might have an emotional unmet need that is, poor boundaries, okay? Because what they might find is that they start doing that, and now guess what? Their immunity's back up. And they just went that route. So let's talk about how we're going to support bowel elimination, right? Which they do kind of hold hands, but we're going to cover Terrazyme, which if you haven't heard of Terrazyme, it's a food enzyme. It's in a capsule. And then also Digestin, which you probably know about, but you may not know about the idea of taking them together. I love taking them together, especially if I know that my bowel might be potentially a little bit sluggish. So follow the directions on the bottle for the Terrazyme. It says 1 to 3 with meals. And what you're going to do there is how you judge is to not only look at your own situation, knowing maybe how sluggish your bowel is, that will help you to decide how many you want to take, but also thinking about what you're eating. So if I'm eating something like meat or something that is going to take a lot of digestive support to get it through my system, I'm definitely going to want to take 3 rather than 1, okay? But basically, these enzymes are helping the food to break down and go through the system, and actually you're going to get more nutrients out of your food using the Terrazyme. Then I would recommend adding a Digestin with it somehow, whether that be taking the bottle of Digestin oil and putting that straight into your mouth. If you don't like the flavor of Digestin oil, no problem. We have Digestin soft gels, and you can just pop one of those at the same time as you do your Terrazyme. And once again, the biggest thing is be consistent. You know, do this each meal, and that's going to help your bowel and the elimination to happen a lot better. So I hope you had fun learning a few of these things today. I did, and they've made a big difference for me knowing some of those additional pieces to the puzzle and just digging deeper whenever there's something that comes up. So enjoy the rest of the symposium. Thanks for watching.